We are live on Facebook. Good afternoon. Praise God. I'm so excited today. Listen, I'm just going to kick off the show today by saying God has a plan and you are a part of it. And I am too. And why did I kick it off like that today? Because I'm excited. Listen, I have the privilege of being on the platform today with our charter sponsor. And he started off as our charter member over almost 13 years ago, Dr. Julius Skeete. And I am so excited about that because I was thinking this morning and even in my prayers, and I'm going to be transparent. When you start a thing, sometimes there are people that come along with you, and sometimes there are opportunities where they said, "Oh, I'm tired of that," or "I'm not going to do that anymore." I just want to let you all know that there are opportunities that God will send for those that will hang in there with you, that will believe you. You may not hear from them or talk to them or once a year for your eye checkup or whatever, or a message here and there, or on the platform for their annual opportunity. But what I'm telling you is that they are believing in you and they're praying for you and they're supporting you. I had to say all of that to say to you today, Dr. Julia Skeete, welcome back to the GCBN platform this morning. God bless you, Dr. Skeete. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for being all of that I was talking about.
Well, Sister Beth, thank you. It's an honor. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm honored to be here. And first, I would just like to say, first and foremost, my wife is actually the driving force because she was the person that introduced me to you and GCBN back 13 years ago. And my gosh, that time has gone by quite fast. But yes, it's been an honor. And in fact, this is unbiased. But one of the best things I've done in practice has been to become a member of GCBN. And again, I go back with Sister Beth to the early days of GCBN and watch its growth. And as I said, I'm honored to be a member. I start off as being one of the first members. And because I really believe in GCBN, putting God back into business, I've even aspired to move up to being a corporate sponsor. And what I would say, without any type of prompting from Sister Beth, is that if you are online and you are have been coming and using the resources that she provided and have been debating whether to be a member, definitely be a member. For those who are members now, take the next step and be a corporate sponsor.
Oh my God. I
You
did not. uh,
Yeah, you didn't do to say that. You didn't ask me to do this. But if when I do speak, because I firmly believe in Beth and all and her family supporting GCBN and all the folks that have been a part of it, you've enriched us. And so as being a member, you'll get enriched. But as you become a member, the next step is to consider being a corporate sponsor so we can help enrich her to allow her and GCBN to do the things because they've given me so much just for spiritual encouragement, business direction, networking connections. So it's been a blessing this 13 years. So I thank my wife for introducing me to GCBN. And I thank Sister Beth and her family and her team um, for being so good and giving so much back to us. So it's the least that we can do. And so just thank you,
Oh my
Sister Beth.
God. God bless you, Dr. Ski. And yes, Lady Susan is on the call today. And I'm so thankful for her. I was going to get around to that. He beat me to it. But I did greet her prior to coming live. But I really, really want to thank her for that because I saw a meme on LinkedIn or somewhere is that behind every successful man is a woman that's pushing him. And the idea of it was funny. It was a funny because uh, there was an opportunity where a bed of sharks was in the ocean, and somebody's probably seen this meme or something, and the video, and they said, I'll pay someone $1 million to jump in and outrun the sharks. And so when they got to the shore and the guy won and they were awarding him his $1 million, they said, well, what made you think to jump? and that you could outrun. He said, I didn't jump, someone pushed him. And his wife was behind him and winked her eye.
That's a good one.
And so I thought that was a funny. And I just thank Susan for having the foresight to say, to realize that GCBN is solid ground. Back then, Lady Susan, I have to tell you, I was stepping out on faith. I really needed someone to join up with me to hear that, to confirm or affirm that I'd heard what God said to do. And here we are, because of you, 13 years later, Dr. Skeete and yourself, and y'all have been supported the whole while. We just have to take this time to say thank you. And that came from God, just in my spirit when I woke up. Bianca does such a wonderful job as my personal assistant and as our PR person to let me know who's going to be on the show, send me notes, all of that stuff. And, I've been knowing, and I just been thanking God since Sunday. How many people can say that they have clients or customers or supporters that have been with them the whole while? And so that's important. And I want people to know that. From Lady Susan, she says, it's been an honor to be a part of GCBN. So praise God for that. And y'all, this is important. You can even get something out of this. We haven't gotten into the presentation, but if you haven't gotten what we're trying to communicate right now, is there's faithfulness. If you are obedient to what God says to do, there's no small opportunity. God's going to send you who you need. And when I talk about the double acronym, then what you're going to understand that they fit perfectly within Uniquely Unified. Okay, so today it is such a wonderful opportunity to talk about your topic. I'm going to let you start your topic and we'll go back and forth. And at some point, I'll be able to share the double acronym that God has given me through a download. Okay,
Sounds good.
awesome.
Well, folks, again, thank you for just giving me this time opportunity to kind of share with you. My topic for today is, are you seeing double? Now, what's very interesting, I'm going to give you folks an experiment to do. And this is not really, my colleagues are going to be angry at me, but if you basically want to do an experiment, when you go to your next annual eye examination, when your doctor says, Miss Jones, how are you doing today? You can say, oh, Dr. Skeete, I'm doing well, but I've been seeing double. Watch your doctor's expression. As my grandma Lula used to say, the doctor will get conniptions. And if you know what conniptions are, conniption is basically a doctor getting stressed. Because when we hear a person come in with the symptom of double vision, that usually suggests that there's something that's not right. Um, Double vision is not a natural phenomenon that you want to have because it's very disconcerting seeing the world double. So usually when someone comes in for double vision, your doctor's going to say, are you sure you're seeing double? Are you sure it's not you're seeing a ghosting or a shadowing? Are you really seeing two separate things? And of course, the challenge is when the person says, no, Dr. Skeete, I am seeing two separate things. And that means that there's something that's going on. We got to do a little bit more work than we normally do. Now,
Okay.
double vision typically means that in most cases, the eyes are not aligned. They're not working together. And there's a lot of factors where a person can get double vision. Sometimes children can get double vision because when you're born, the eye muscles may not be perfectly aligned. And
Okay.
so many times this child may have to do eye exercises to try to strengthen the eye or even surgical intervention to make the eyes realign. Again, many times, if those procedures don't work, what will typically happen, the brain will basically shut one eye down. Because if rather
Oh,
the person see with one eye and see single, than to have
okay.
both eyes
Okay.
getting 20/20 vision but seeing two. So the brain doesn't really want the eyes to see double. So that's where
Okay.
people get
Gotcha.
what's called a
Gotcha.
lazy eye. But that's the eye's not lazy. It's just the brain is shutting that eye down to prevent from people from seeing double. Now,
Awesome.
as you go along age-wise, you can get double vision for a lot of systemic conditions. One, if you have a condition like thyroid disease, you'll get double vision because the eye muscles are a little bit enlarged. and there's only so much space for the eyes to move in the eye socket, and that could create a double vision episode. Another big issue where people get double vision is from diabetes. Now, the challenge that we have in the
Okay.
United States is 1 out of every 10 people is a diabetic. In my practice, 20% of my practice is diabetic, myself included. That means one out of
Um,
every five people I see have diabetes. And what happens a lot of times, how diabetes can affect the double vision is that the diabetes affects the blood vessels throughout the body. It affects
mhm,
the blood vessels that basically support the nerves that basically control the eye movements.
mhm,
Now, talking about double, we have what's called 12 cranial nerves. Those 12 cranial nerves are in pairs. So you have an
uh-huh,
optic nerve in each eye. That's a pair, hence the double. Okay, so you
mhm,
have double nerves. Um, of the 12 cranial nerves, five of them have some connection with eye function. And typically, when you have diabetes will tend to affect the cranial nerves 3, 4, and 6, which control
okay,
your eye movements. And so, with that situation, when the blood sugar is not in good control, that can
uh-huh,
short term create a double vision episode. So, what that means is to reduce double vision from diabetes, you definitely not only want to have an annual eye examination to
okay.
how the eyes are doing, but you need, as with everything with diabetes, is try to get your systemic blood sugar under control. So for those diabetics out there, exercising, eating right, doing what you and your doctor are supposed to be doing is the best way to create that double vision episode in the eyes from diabetes. Other things
Y-
that can cause double vision is, of course, you're always concerned about vascular conditions like strokes. So, in fact, a stroke can be another reason people get double because, again, impedance of blood flow. Typically, when you have a stroke, and we don't understand why, but typically the double vision will resolve in 2 or 3 months. It's very visually disturbing because that person is walking around seeing too, but you have to reassure the person that that double vision, what we call diplopia, will over time subside. Now, other issues, or other causes of diabetes, double vision beside the stroke, the thyroid disease, the diabetes, can be other vascular conditions, potential for an aneurysm. So a lot of times patients, when you get double vision that just presents, usually the double vision over time will dissipate. But if anybody has, with the double vision, a recent onset, any type of pain, slurred vision, if they have lightheadedness or any type of weird sensation, a lot of pain, particularly pain on eye movements, those are situations when you get double vision where
mhm,
you really need to seek immediate care because you want to make sure that's not indicative of an aneurysm or, again, an impending stroke. But if it's just double vision that just has come on and there's not those associated conditions, you may want to save yourself going to emergency, but you definitely need to go and see the eye care provider to just see what they can figure out that may be the cause or etiology of having double vision.
mhm,
Now, many times, though, people will ask us, well, Doc, I'm seeing double vision. Um, can I have double vision from one eye? And that's actually the kind of double vision we don't mind because
uh-huh,
when it's from one eye, it means that something in that eye is causing you to get two images. That could be maybe your contact lens is not sitting on the eye in the right position if you're a contact wearer, or it could be your glasses could be in the wrong
uh-huh.
position. Remember a couple years ago, Sister Beth, when you got your first progressive glasses,
Oh my
before you went to
God.
the bus
Oh
stop,
my God.
you had a little trouble getting used to them. And so if you're looking through the wrong portion of your glasses, that could create a double vision issue for the one eye. So
Mhm,
there's such a thing as
mhm,
binocular double vision where the two eyes are not aligned. But there's such a thing as monocular double vision where you're getting a splitting in the vision. That's what the doctor wants to hear because that means there's some type of ghosting. It doesn't mean there's
uh-huh,
some type of
uh-huh,
neurology going on. It may be your glasses are not fitting right. your contact is not in the right position, or it could be the start of a cataract. Because if you get a cataract, which is the cloudy lens in the eye, that clouding of the lens could be
Hmm.
right in your line of sight that could cause you to get a split image.
Okay.
Um, Other issues where you can get a one-eye double vision, it could be somebody with a new medicine or somebody who's been maybe a little bit overserved. So if they've been overserved at a party, then the best thing to do is not to drive, is to go home and get some rest. And the next morning, that monocular double vision should be gone. So
Gone.
yes,
Okay.
so
But
those are the
you're right about the lens. The multiple lens that are in the glasses can
hmm
cause you, and that's exactly what I was experiencing, but I didn't know. But when you told me, I thought, oh my God, what is going on with me? Am I, I'm seeing all of these. I think I saw triple or something, but it's
hmm
amazing how when you train yourself, and I'm going to use this, what you've said, because when you train yourself how to utilize your lens, how to see through to the vision. And I know you, I don't want to get ahead of you because I know you're headed somewhere that you're going to even talk about with your practices. But when you're looking out of the wrong lens, at the wrong perspective, it can cause you to have double vision. Okay.
yes.
And so I just want to note that for where I know you're going to head later on, because we think, oh my God, in the scheme of things, from a technical standpoint and from a professional business operating standpoint, double, 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 double. But if you don't have the right perspective, it's what God just put it in my spirit, with the opportunity to seek double professionally in business, for your business, and to experience that, it's not going to be a good thing.
Right. Well, that's the
Okay.
same thing too, in terms of just when patients say, okay, doctor, I have double vision. You're telling me that it may go away. But in the interim, what can I do? Because I don't want to walk around for 2 or 3 months walking around pseudo double. So typically how doctors manage temporary the double vision is that, as
Mhm.
I shared with you, you get double vision because the eyes are not aligned. They're in different positions. For that period of time, because the eye muscles have been compromised, the eyes can't move to where the image is. So to change their perspective, we have to move the image to where the eye is. And the way doctors,
Ah,
the way opticians do that is they do something called prism. They grind, uh, make a lens that they grind in your glasses that moves the center of the optics to where the eye is positioned. So it changes your perspective. Now, the challenge with a prismatic lens is the fact that as the person's eyes go back to quote unquote normal, we have to change the prism to adjust it out to move the image to where the eye now is begin to move.
okay.
If you think of a prism lens, the way people ask, what is a prism lens? Well, if you think of a triangle, okay, the
Uh-huh.
bottom of the triangle is the base, okay? And the way the optics work is that the lens moves the light to the apex of the lens. So if a
Uh-huh.
person's eyes are stuck out, the image is has to be moved out. So the prism base is put this way, so the image is moved to where the eyes are. And that's how a prismatic lens works in a glass, over and above what a standard glass does. Now, how that impacts in terms of business, or in terms of my business, is that due to years, I used to have 2 offices. And
Mhm.
I have moved from Gwinnett, where we first met, to my office here in Gainesville. And I've been here in Gainesville now almost a decade. I've been in Gwinnett about 20 years. And when I decided to expand my horizons and do my double, I decided to go with 2 offices. And um, suffice to say that with COVID and all the other challenges that we I had to change my perspective because I thought that having 2 offices would create double blessings. That having the 2 offices wasn't a double blessing because I was wind up spending less time in each practice. So double
Mm,
the challenges, double the responsibility, but
stability.
not double the blessing. And so I had to again change my perspective because really, when I did the two practices, I did it because I thought that would be double. But looking in retrospect now, I'm getting double the blessing by having the one practice because now I can put double my resources here and not spread myself thin. So again, from a business standpoint, I had to change my perspective and realize that my double wasn't trying to double two different resources, but to have one which I could get double the rewards and benefit and the blessing and the satisfaction of being able to better serve my patients, giving them double the time that I couldn't give when I had this individual separate practices.
I am so thankful for how God continually affirms his truth. Because you're one of the first, and this is July, we're at a mid-year point, that have come on to the platform. And of course, the double vision related to your practice as an optometrist. But in so doing, is being able to relate to us how double isn't always a perspective of doubling everything. You've got to have, and that's why I said earlier, the right perspective. Right now, I'd like to introduce the acronym for double and show you several opportunities. Yes, Susan, awesome. It is just wonderful to show you where what you just said is so in alignment with what I believe God is trying to get us to understand through the double aspect of experiencing greater uh blessings from him. It doesn't always look the way that we think it should or it would, because his ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. But the double acronym is this: D is excuse me, decidedly obedient. You know, decidedly disciplined. It's being disciplined to the point that God, if you tell me to do this, I'm going to do this. So you're decidedly disciplined. Okay. The O is optimally obedient. You know, it you're having two locations, and saying, now I'm going to one, you know, that's optimal obedience. You could have stretched yourself and continued that because you said 20 and 10. That is a long time at both locations, but you trusted God. That's obeying him. And I think about how Abraham, obeyed God, and it was accounted to him for righteousness and keeping him in right standing. And then the you being uniquely unified. And that's what I was talking about when I started GCBN, that God sent some people like you, like Lisa Macy, that have been with me since the beginning and are still with me. And she speaks just like you do, and like Susan does, of GCBN being a blessing. And so when we actually understand that, we'll be boldly believing, because what I heard in the midst of what you were sharing is that you believe God that he could double through shrinking. I mean, that's amazing to me. That's I'm so glad that you shared that perspective, because too often um we consider, well, it's got to be bigger and greater. But God said, I can do oh, I can do a lot with a little, if you'll just give it to me. And one of the things that the last two are limitlessly loving and excellently executed. And one of the things that I really would love to just, hats off to you all. Excellently executing is what you all do. You know, you operate in excellence from the front desk experience throughout. Everything is in excellence. And sometimes we have a tendency, even in Christendom, that we just put something out there. I'm just going to be transparent. We just put stuff out there and see how it sticks or see how it flies. But we've got to be mirroring our Father's business. We got to be about our Father's business, but we got to be mirroring his image. And when we excellently executed, Psalms 8 talks about, oh, how excellent is their name, oh Lord. We have to operate in excellence. And I just want to put that, my little 2 cents in right there, because that's powerful what you just said, what you shared with us. That's terribly powerful.
Well, to interject also too, it goes back to what I guess my last major point was the fact that, and that's part of being part of GCBN and putting God back in business. When I did try having the two offices, I did what I thought I needed to do, and it was only in terms when I was totally stressed out and not doing things the way I felt I needed to do. Um, that's when I prayed, and the Lord gave me direction. Kind of said, "I told you this wasn't the thing you should have done, but to be obedient and listen to the word." Because as my wife would tell you, I was really, I was a little concerned of giving up the other office because I was in my thought having the double, that's the way I was going to get my double blessing. So putting the Lord, not the Lord has been in the business, but listening to him and keeping him in the business. So it's not just putting the Lord back in business, it's in your business owner, is keeping him in the business. And I thank my wife and my daughters for that constant encouragement reminding. I thank my team for having the belief in me. I also thank GCBN for that support because, as I said, I don't get a chance to get down to the net to all the meetings, but I try to make to some of the functions and take charge Tuesday, sometimes trying to get on. Um, but it's just that from hearing other speakers, because by no way, shape, or form do I profess to be a motivational speaker or a coach counselor, but just from the walk of being a fellow business owner. I hope that when you and I fellowship here, we get together with the meetings and we meet other like-minded business owners. So one thing that I've gleaned from GCBN is sharing my story or sharing our stories with other fellow business owners because we're all going through the same thing. And we just need to know that when we get to those challenging points, that we have to trust in God because he will bless us and remain faithful. I love your acronyms because they've gotten me through so many different things, like the one of the double. So, in my summary, double can be good if you have the right perspective of what double
Mm.
means for you based on what the Lord has in store for you. And what you have to do is go to him in prayer and to listen to him. And no doubt, fellow business owners, fellow folks on this feed, it's not always going to be, roses. I mean, there are going to be days that you have challenges and you really have to go to your prayer room and say, "Oh Lord, you know, you know, okay, if this is my double, okay, what should I do?" But, as through my walk doing this for 35 years and being a business owner now for a couple decades, he's definitely gotten me through. And so, like I said, my double is basically now what I'm doing, having great staff. And I thank you for that acknowledgement of my office because my administrator, and she and I have been together for 20 years. She is, you've met her before, and
Yes.
she's really, really good in having our team stay motivated and, taking good care of the patients, making sure that we educate, but also making sure that their experience is pleasant and, efficient. And so, like I said, that goes back to us being able to give double the efforts and not being spread so thin so that we can educate and take care of the patients the way the Lord would want us to do that. Because I always look at my walk, I'm blessing what I'm doing. I think that this is what he's had wanted me to do. And so with that, for his glory, we try to do as best as we can in doing this. And so when I was doing the two, I wasn't doing what he wanted me to do. But now that I'm here in the one, I can do my double because that's what he's called me to do.
Well, Dr. Skeete, a couple of things. I got to unpack some things you said there because I understand what you meant by motivational speaker. but God sends speakers to give insight. And I promise you, if there's been, maybe I'm thinking even Krista Parker may have said something similar to what you've said. And she is an inspirational, motivational speaker, and she is the president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. But I've had a lot of people on the platform, and they've done very well in facilitating and unpacking the acronym that God gave me back in December of last year when we were visiting Bianca's parents over in England. And I was up, jet lag like crazy. And God, I was pressing to hear the results of how do I deliver double as an acronym? Are you done with me? And I was coming out D words, determined, uh, dedicated, and all of those type of things. But they weren't they were good words, but they weren't words that I knew that were affirming how I felt. I couldn't even deliver it, so to speak. The opportunity, though, for you to say that, and that's fine because for you to present your field is optometry, and so that's fine. But what we can't discount is the powerfulness of what God used you from the perspective of sharing about double vision, and then to go on to talk about your practice going from two to one, but yet still experiencing a double. OMG, this is an opportunity that I mean, I'm like, God is just really blessing my spirit with that, because all year long, and even maybe sometimes, let me just be a little transparent back up what we talk about it double, but we never or rarely ever see it as an opportunity, as, oh, that may be shrinkage, but I'm thinking about it when God and Gideon and the opportunity, when God reduces down to show his power in the small amount. I mean, this is God. But then when I see, optimally obedient, I understand that even better myself, having written the acronym. Optimal obedience requires going beyond what it looks like, what it sounds like, what I feel that might even, it just doesn't look right at all, but God can do the exceedingly abundantly above and beyond all that we're able to ask or think. And that's boldly believing that God called me through it. It'll be God that will take me through it. And so the opportunity, I'm just elated. Listen, I've got what I need. This is wonderful. And earlier on when you were talking, Susan was just like clapping about that, because you mentioned, I think probably I kind of sensed that maybe she was very supportive of going to the one, and you were like,
Um,
how am I
I'm going
going?
to put it out there. She was, we were, her and my daughters and the family, just because it also, like I said, quality of life and time. And, just like I said, I think not being able to give them, the time, but just knowing that it's important for me in the practice to take care of the patients. And, a lot of the, patients, basically, would want to see me, or, and so it just allowed me to focus on that, because that to me is important in making sure our are really well taken care of. And, basically also making sure the family is also taken care of, and just they know my passion, to try to, when I'm not giving my best to the practice, that stresses me out. The conniptions, as we talked about earlier. So it's been a blessing. And as I said, I just give all the glory to God and to my family. So again, I've got my double blessing. I wish I could say I have the double the income, but as we talked
Uh-huh.
about, it's not always the financial. It's about doing God's work. And as I said, my family will tell you some days I can complain about, some of the things, issues we do, but it's just a blessing to be able to do what we do. And, we take that for granted, because a lot of people would aspire to want to do the things we do and never get the opportunity. So I'm just very blessed in that regard, but I'm just even more blessed from my double. my double is basically doing what we're doing right now. But we still aspire to do even a little bit better. But it's doing now. One thing I will say, because I know we're going to be closing in a few minutes, but one thing that I do want to just impress upon everybody, and I do this every time we have a presentation. I love to see people and patients for their eye health, but I'm just very impacted. I'm very motivated to encourage anybody that watches the video on is online that even if they don't come to our practice to have the annual eye exam, it's very important that everybody has their eyes checked every year. The eyes are the window to the soul, and even in our with I'm trying to think of the word. I lost my. Our motto is that the eyes should be filled with light because the eyes are the window to the soul. So to keep those eyes healthy, it's just very important that people have an annual eye examination, even if they don't see us, to see an eye care provider every year to make sure those eyes stay healthy.
Well, that's where I'm gonna push back on you. I think they should see you. Go to your practice. No, no. And even as Georgia Christian Business Network members, I would love to see where all of us flood. And I know you're located in Gainesville, but let me tell you something. We drive for vacation, we drive for different opportunities. And Drome and I, when we come, we make there are some awesome restaurants there. We make it just an outing and fun and to just spend the day. And
I'm
someone else, and
I'm
I'm
gonna
trying to think of who it was.
I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to
Uh,
tell you how honored I was because the Copelands spent their anniversary having their eye examination and went to a restaurant that my wife and I like to go to in Gainesville called Luna's. And they did have a good time. Sent me a picture of that nice
yes.
food that they have. So they do it. In fact, a lot of the GCPN members have supported us through the years, and a lot of them, the Copeland family in full, and some of our GCBN members still come up to the office, and that's the ultimate honor. And that's why, again, it's imperative, impressive on us to make sure that we do take care of just not only the Copans and GCBN members, but everybody to make sure that they do have a comprehensive and quality eye examination. But you guys made my day. I told Susan, yeah, the Copans were here. They celebrate their anniversary.
And the
And they like Luna's,
restaurant,
which was really good.
yes, that restaurant was awesome. In fact, we have to get back up there. And I will tell you this though, and you said the entire Copeland family, Bianca works for me now, but they live in Marietta. And so it's a drive for real, but it's
Thank you.
important to go for good service. I'm telling you, we'll drive for good service. I'll drive down there to that restaurant again because it was a great recommendation. The food was delicious. And in fact, we pushed it out to the family and said, we need to go here. So we'll go for it's important. Our eyes are important. And I love the way you talk about it being the wonder to the soul and how you've taught me personally that, and even Jerome, about things that are happening in our bodies that you can foresee that through the eyes. And but that's scripturally, but it's also, it works. It's technical professionally. It works. It makes sense because you can detect early onset of different things that are happening throughout the body. That's important. That's very, very important. Yes. So yeah, you want to go. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna be a little more transparent. I'm gonna talk about my healthcare provider, another one, not calling any names or anything, but I'm looking for a new one because my doctor, many, many years, retired during COVID. She was older, but not too old, but her kids were more concerned. They weren't in the medical field, they were attorneys and other professionals, but they wanted her to be able to interact with the grandkids safely. And she made a decision to retire. They sold their practice. Well, since then, the reason I say I'm looking for referrals from people that are pleased with the service that is being provided in that area. So I'm telling right now, I'm not ashamed to say that I want to encourage people to come to your practice because it's proven, not just because you're a GCBN sponsor and faithful member for, yeah, a charter member. I'm saying you provide good service. And I have to be very honest. And if people are listening, those that have joined over on the Facebook side or watching the replay, you will probably agree, good service is very difficult in this day and age. So that is also why I'm saying go there. When I went there, another transparency, and then I'm going to switch back to you and let you kind of pull it together for us, is about 2 years ago, I think you'll probably recall that I was having some flashes, some white flashes. And the first place that I went to was you. And I don't even know if you told me to come see you, to tell you the truth. I think your experience, your knowledge, you knew what was happening. And I can't remember if you did an examination, that part, but I do remember that you referred me out to ophthalmologists, if I'm not mistaken, because you knew from what I described and how I was describing the frequency of it that more than likely I needed to go for further examination there. I probably should let you tell this story better. But the point that I'm getting to is that I want somebody caring for my eyes, my windows of the soul, that knows what they're doing. So this is my story. I'm sticking to it. But you even told me something prior to my going out, is that you were, I don't know. I'm going to let you take it from there because I think it was 90. I say 95, but it may have been closer to 99% sure that my retina wasn't broken. Now, do you remember this happening?
I remember that, yes. But
Okay.
without throwing out your medical privacy out in the
Okay.
open. But yeah, a lot of times as we go along date of birth wise, the jelly in our eye changes. And that's where people get what they call floaters or they can get flashes. But of course, in that 1% of the time, the retina, which is the back lining of the eye, can have a break or a tear or detachment. So we check you just to make sure, but there's a test that we don't have in our office because we don't see enough patients to justify the cost, where it checks the integrity of the back of the eye. And because you're like a sister, I would want you, and probably any patient anyway, but I would want you just to be sure, that doubly sure, that everything was good. And they did that test and everything was fine. But it's just that 1% you don't want to miss or take the risk of somebody, because if you had a potential for tear, it's very, well, I wouldn't say easy, but it's better for the specialist to catch it in its infancy than to wait for it to detach or tear. So God bless, it wasn't that, but we just wanted to be sure.
Wow, wow. And you had told me that percentage. What was it? It was high, that you were almost more than certain.
99%, but that 1% can be big. So
Yes,
you don't
but
want to
you
rush it
told
for
me that.
1%.
And I
Yeah.
said I was done, but I thought of one more, and I'm not going to put Bianca on blast, but she was having something that was happening years ago when she was new. Her and Romy had got married in 17. I think this is around 18. And I referred her to you. And when I was referring her to you, because of the distance, you said, I know someone that I want to refer her to. I was like, I want her to have you. And you
Yes.
assured me, Sister Beth,
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. But
it's
thank you again.
okay. It's the
But
colleague that I have, that to refer her. And I love that. And the reason I brought that up is because when you are confident in who God has called you to be, what God has told you that He will provide, because if it's His vision, He gives provision. You're not trying to say, oh, bring on down here. No, you were able to outsource that. And that spoke volumes to me. It wasn't that you didn't want the business, it was something that you wanted a colleague of yours that was a specialist that was in her area to be able to take a look at that. And I was like, God, that right there to me is a vote of confidence. And that lets us know as business owners, we don't always have to say, send it to me, send it to me. You know, I'm trying to hoard. What God says, there's opportunities for collaboration, not competition. And if we could get that, we're so competitive sometimes. And I'm talking Christian business owners. We're more concerned about, am I going to be the greatest or am I going to be the best? Instead of looking for opportunities for collaboration. That's my story. I got passionate there, but that's it right there. Larissa said, Amen. God is pro. Yes, PRO. I like the way she put that. The provision for our life, and He has provision. I like that. Thank you, Larissa, for sharing that.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Dr. Skeet, this has been,
I
go
saw
ahead.
that popped up and I was going to say that, but you acknowledged it. I thought that was cool. Thanks,
Yes.
Miss
Oh my
Larissa.
God. Awesome, awesome. Dr. Skeet, this is so wonderful. I want you to think of some final words that you'll leave with us. And I'm going to do a little housekeeping and share some information about what's coming up next on the Georgia Christian Business Network platform. I know tomorrow is Wellness Wednesday, typical to what we do on Take Charge Tuesday. The opportunity is, I don't know if you're aware of it, but God has added to uh, the Wellness Wednesday platform, the Fantastic Four. And you remember Rich Oswald, who was a fellow GCB and corporate sponsor for numerous years. Then he moved away, he and his family, to accept a job at the Mayo Clinic, closed his practice here. Well, guess what? He has referred his wife to the Wellness Wednesday platform. And Christine Oswald is on the platform with Pamela Bridgman Bartell, myself, and Jessica Banner, another clinician, that we're the Fantastic Four. Bianca named us, so I retain my modesty. But I do have to tell you that I agree. And we follow the Take Charge Tuesday platform, providing Christian business owners an opportunity for gleaning emotional and mental stability so that you can operate your business successfully. Yes, born out of COVID, that was an opportunity for me to make a decision. We were meeting mostly on site, and COVID gave the shutdown. No one could go anywhere. And I'm like, God put it strongly in my spirit. If God said go, COVID can't say no. And how do you do it? And the body has what the body needs. And that's when I tapped into Pamela and Rich, told them what God had put on my heart about Wellness Wednesday virtual online. Because how do you tell someone in business to continue to go forward when they can't even go out and do business? And so the Wellness Wednesday platform has become instrumental and totally valuable to those that join us. And I like something else Dr. Skeete said that kind of affirmed something God placed in my heart recently. There are a lot of people that are eating at the GCBN table, but they're not paying what my business mentor taught me, the rent. They don't get to not leaving the tip, but they're not paying for the food. And you said that earlier. If you've been trying to on the fence, so to speak, about joining GCBN, there's great opportunities. You're watching our replays, and we'll give them out there freely. Wonderful. We want to help you. We want to be that catalyst to help you win in business and in life. But maybe there's an opportunity, and maybe this is the time for you to give back. Become a member, become a sponsor. Visit our website, gcbnetwork.com. We are putting God back in business. We're like Nehemiah. We're doing a great work. We believe it wholeheartedly, and we won't come down. There's opportunities for you to join us at God Golfing Girls. Oh, I would love for you all. Susan, is this year, if you can't join for the entire weekend, we are so excited. It's right there, probably in your neck of the woods at Lake Lanier. There's a great opportunity, ladies everywhere. We're having an all-white Friday night party, and that kicks off so anyone could attend, whether you're staying the weekend with us or not, which we'd hope you'd look at the weekend. But God Golfing Girls, this is our 8th annual, and it's a new beginning. So reach out to us or go to our website to be able to join us for these awesome events that we have that are upcoming. This has been a wonderful show today, Dr. Skeete. Thank you so much for joining us, making time in your schedule, counting us worthy as you and Susan for the past almost 30 years. Can you believe that? This is God.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Your closing words, what would you say to us? What would you have us to grow on? Anything in particular you'd like to highlight for
Um,
us?
Yes, several things. Just again, thank you for the opportunity as always. Thank you for you. Thank you for just your hard work and your family, Miss Bianca, Brother Jerome, Sister Jessica, your son, just everybody, the Copeland family and GCBN. And just again, impress upon everybody to just make sure they have an annual eye exam and just remember to keep God in your business, in your life, particularly in these challenging times. That's what we have to lean on. I know that's who I lean on and my family. But just just keep everybody uplifted in thoughts and prayers. And just again, thank you for you and what you do. And I look forward to next event.
Awesome. And I think about how God has used you and Lady Susan in our lives. And I just want to just say once again, thank you to the both of you. And when I was telling the joke about the pushing, the wife pushed the woman to go, the husband to go get that 1 million. I just thank you, Susan. I just want to pause to say that you sent him to us. And I don't downplay that. I think that's an awesome opportunity to say that you perceived that it was a great thing. And thank you. Kudos to you. I hope to see you both in November. And the only other thing that I just really like to see you at is our gala, and when we have it in December, but in November for Community Sponsors Day. And as soon as and the community sponsors, it's really Community Partners Day and Sponsors Appreciation Day, where we appreciate our sponsors and we look to them to be a part of a luncheon, and where we actually give back to our community partners like Bethany House and Good News Club, and even Larissa's, the Gift Center, has been recipients. And we gave out $5,500 last year. We say it's the year of the double, and I do need your prayers, okay? Because I believe God that we're going to give out $11,000. And I mean, little GCBN, you know, God's People Ministry. That would be amazing. So that's the only other opportunities that I want to tax of your time, if at all possible, to join us, because it's because of people like you that makes it possible for us to be able to do that. So I say to you all, thank you, thank you, thank you. God has a plan and we are a part of it. Thank you for
Amen.
those that have joined us. Did you have something else, Dr. Skeete?
No, we're just saying we're a part of it.
And we are
I was just,
part of it. Yes, 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 yes. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Susan. God bless you too. But listen, thank you all for joining us today. Bianca, as always, she is amazing as a support, as a PR and personal assistant. I mean, it's just like God doing a new thing within GCBN. Thank you for joining us. I believe that's your daughter probably on the line with us, Alexandria. Thank you. And Larissa hanging in here. And for those that have joined over on the GCBN Facebook group side of the house, and those that will watch the replay, jot a note and let us know that you're there. Thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to visit our website and always walk in the knowledge of the truth and knowing that you are significant to God's plan, because God has a plan and we are a part of it. Take care. God bless you. We'll be in touch, Dr. Skeete. Thank you so much.
will do.
Bye
Thank
bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.